The sheer scale of everything moving at once can be overwhelming. Billions of tiny particles vibrate, while millions rush through chaotic city intersections. When faced with all that noise, we naturally want to find the hidden rules that make sense of it. We look for ways to understand how the tiny, invisible pieces connect to the massive ones. That search for connection is the core of systems thinking. Instead of zooming in on isolated single objects, this approach looks squarely at the relationships and interactions between the parts. Look at those connections closely, and a universal pattern emerges: flow. Water moving down a river, data traveling through a network, or goods crossing an ocean. Flow is the currency of every system in existence. Seeing reality as an interconnected hierarchy of flows reveals how all this chaotic movement actually builds a highly structured world. To see how that structure builds, we have to start at the absolute bottom. Down at the physical baseline, flow is simply motion, matter and energy moving predictably through space. Systems thinker William Weaver's framework starts with 3 distinct nodes: energy, material, and information. These link to form reality's foundational bedrock. Energy provides the raw capacity to do work. Material emerges from energy as condensed matter. Information represents their specific, non-random arrangement. At this stage, these flows are entirely passive. They are governed by rigid, calculable physical laws, like thermodynamics and gravity. Things fall down, heat spreads out. Without these reliable physical laws, the universe would be too chaotic for any higher-order complexity to ever exist. On top of that stable canvas, biology emerges. Life exists as a system that actively harnesses and organizes those raw physical flows. Take a single biological cell. It creates a semi-permeable boundary, pulling in nutrients and expelling waste to maintain itself. It is the universe's first dedicated flow management system. When individual cells team up and communicate, they form organs. A heart manages the movement of blood. Lungs manage the exchange of air. Each organ acts as a specialized department, handling a massive, specific flow for the wider group. Integrate all those specialized organs together, and you get a complete organism. The entire body operates as a unified entity, reacting to its environment based on its own internal drives and instincts. Complexity builds by taking the layer directly beneath it and organizing it. Life functions as a highly advanced manager of the universe's basic physical materials. When self-aware humans emerge from complex organisms, we reach the sociocultural tier. Here, human civilization stacks up as a cascade of emergent flows, following the exact same organizational principles as cells and organs. Watch how this diagram constructs civilization from the bottom up. The foundational block locking in is science. By testing and verifying facts, science generates data, establishing a stable, shared flow of information. Once we share a factual reality, art uses that information to explore relationships and meaning. This creates a powerful flow of connection, binding people together through shared narratives and symbols. That shared connection allows groups to agree on what matters most. Ethical and value systems establish a flow of hierarchy, generating the deep social trust necessary for strangers to cooperate. Widespread social trust sets the stage for economics. When people trust that a transaction will be honored, markets form, generating an intricate, large-scale flow of commerce. Commerce quickly generates massive complexity. To manage resource disputes and collective action problems, politics emerges, creating a flow of governance to steer the society. This stack reveals a strict developmental sequence. You cannot maintain complex global commerce if the underlying layers of societal trust and a shared understanding of facts begin to fracture. Sitting at the absolute top of this sociocultural ladder is philosophy. It acts as a transcendental metasystem for the entire structure. Science tests isolated facts to build that initial layer of data. Philosophy, on the other hand, studies wisdom. It examines how all these stacked systems, from physics to politics, actually interact and fit together. You can see this recognized in academia. The highest degree across almost any discipline is a Doctor of Philosophy. Achieving true mastery in chemistry, history, or economics requires you to understand the structural foundations and limits of your own field. By producing these big picture frameworks, philosophy equips a mind, or an entire society, to step back. When a system absorbs these tools, it generates the ultimate flow, consciousness. As shown, consciousness is the moment a system achieves self-awareness. It generates a dynamic feedback loop to critically examine its own structures. Through this, we gain agency. We can look downward at our laws, markets, and values and intentionally redesign them. This hierarchy of flows provides a literal blueprint for systemic change. It gives us the power to stop reacting to isolated problems, step out of the current, and start intentionally shaping the systems we live in.